Captain Alex Reed stared at the viewscreen, mesmerized by the impossible sight before them. The Endeavour had been traveling through the Outer Rim for 3 months, mapping uncharted systems for the Galactic Federation when they stumbled upon something that shouldn't exist. A black star hung motionless in space, perfectly spherical and utterly dark. Not the crushing darkness of a black hole or the dying ember of a red dwarf, but something else entirely. Something artificial. "Scans complete, Captain," reported Lieutenant Maya Cross from her station. "It's definitely artificial. The structure appears to be some kind of megastructure, roughly the size of a small moon. No energy signatures, no electromagnetic radiation, nothing. It's completely inert." Dr. Ben Torres, the expedition's Z-archaeologist, moved closer to the screen with barely contained excitement. "This is unprecedented. A construct of this magnitude would require technology far beyond anything we've encountered. Even the Keth Empire at their peak couldn't have built something like this." Alex nodded grimly. The Keth had been the galaxy's dominant civilization for over 10,000 years before their mysterious collapse 2 millennia ago. Their ruins dotted hundreds of worlds, but nothing approached the scale of what they were seeing now. "Any signs of the builders?" Alex asked. "Negative," Maya replied. "Long-range sensors detect no ships, no stations, nothing. Whatever civilization created, this is long gone." The bridge fell silent as the crew contemplated the massive structure. In the pale starlight of the distant system's primary, the black star seemed to absorb light itself, creating a void in space that made Alex's eyes water when he stared too long. "Sir," called Ensign Tim Blake from communications. "We're receiving a transmission from Federation Command. They want a full report on our discovery." Alex wasn't surprised. Word traveled fast in the Federation, especially when survey ships found something extraordinary. "Tell them we're conducting preliminary scans and will report within 24 hours. As Tim relayed the message, Alex found himself drawn back to the viewscreen. There was something about the structure that felt familiar, not in any way he could explain, but deep in his gut, he felt a strange resonance with the silent giant. "Captain," Dr. Torres said quietly, "I'd like to request permission to take a shuttle over for a closer look. Whatever this is, it could rewrite everything we know about galactic history. Every great bond starts with a single moment of courage. HFY Chronicle Stories is just beginning, and your support matters. If you love emotional sci-fi tales, forbidden connections, and stories that stay with you, hit subscribe. It's free, and it helps us bring more stories from the stars to you." Alex considered the request carefully. First contact protocols were clear about approaching unknown alien technology, but this structure appeared completely dead. Still, the risks were enormous. "What about the Keth archives?" he asked. "Any mention of something like this?" Dr. Torres shook his head. "Nothing even close. The Keth were master builders, but they favored crystalline architectures and energy-based technologies. This is something else entirely. The surface appears to be composed of some kind of ultra-dense metamaterial that doesn't match any known substance." Maya looked up from her console. "Captain, I'm detecting something odd. The structure's gravitational field is inconsistent with its apparent mass. It's as if the interior is mostly hollow, but the mass readings suggest it should be solid throughout. Could it be some kind of ship?" Alex wondered aloud. "Unlikely," Dr. Torres replied. "The scale is all wrong. This is closer to an artificial planet than any vessel. But there's something else that's bothering me. Look at the surface pattern." Alex enhanced the image, revealing intricate geometric designs covering the structure's surface. The pattern seemed random at first glance, but as he studied them, he began to see an underlying order. Those aren't decorative, he realized. They look functional, like some kind of interface or control system. Dr. Torres nodded enthusiastically. "Exactly what I was thinking. Captain, I believe this structure is waiting for activation. The question is, by whom? The shuttle Pioneer drifted slowly toward the black star's surface, its hull gleaming against the void. Captain Reed had insisted on leading the away team personally, bringing Dr. Torres and Lieutenant Cross, along with a full scientific complement. As they approached, the geometric patterns on the structure's surface became more distinct. What had appeared as random designs from a distance revealed themselves as intricate circuits and pathways, all leading toward specific convergence points across the sphere's surface. These patterns, Dr. Torres whispered, his voice filled with awe, they're not random at all. It's like looking at the neural pathways of a massive brain. Maya monitored their approach carefully. No change in energy readings. Whatever this thing is, our presence isn't triggering any automated responses. Alex guided the shuttle toward what appeared to be a landing platform, one of dozens of similar structures protruding from the surface. As they drew closer, he noticed that the platform's design seemed oddly proportioned for human use. That's impossible, he muttered. What is it, Captain? Maya asked. The scale of these landing platforms. They're sized for beings roughly our height and build. But this structure predates human space travel by millennia. Dr. Torres leaned forward, studying the readings. Maybe it's a coincidence. Bipedal forms might be more common than we think. But Alex wasn't convinced. Something about this place felt deliberately designed for humans, which made no sense given its obvious age. The shuttle touched down with barely a whisper, the platform's surface providing perfect traction despite appearing completely smooth. As they powered down the engines, Alex noticed something else strange. Maya, are you getting any readings from the surface beneath us? That's just it, Captain. I'm not getting any readings at all. It's like the surface is completely transparent to our sensors, but we're clearly standing on something solid. They suited up and cycled through the airlock, stepping onto the alien platform. The surface felt solid beneath their boots, but Alex couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking on something far more complex than simple metal or ceramic. Dr. Torres immediately began taking measurements and samples, though his instruments seemed to struggle with the strange material. Captain, this is remarkable. The surface appears to be some kind of programmable matter. It's responding to our presence, but so subtly that we can barely detect it. As if summoned by his words, the geometric patterns nearest to their landing site began to glow with a soft blue-white light. The illumination spread outward in ripples, creating pathways that led away from the platform toward larger structures in the distance. Well, that's not ominous at all, Maya said dryly, checking her weapon's charge. Alex studied the glowing pathways. It's showing us where to go. The question is whether we should follow. Captain, Dr. Torres said urgently, I'm detecting something incredible. These patterns aren't just lighting up randomly. They're following the neural firing patterns of human brains. Somehow this structure is reading our bioelectric fields and responding to them. That's impossible, Maya protested. Human neural patterns are unique to our species. How could an ancient alien structure recognize them? Before Alex could respond, a low harmonic tone began to resonate through the surface beneath their feet. It wasn't quite sound, but something felt rather than heard, vibrating through their bones and settling in their chests like a remembered song. The structure is activating, Dr. Torres breathed. After who knows how many millennia of silence, it's coming online. The pathways pulsed brighter, and Alex felt an overwhelming urge to follow them. Not compulsion exactly, but invitation. As if the structure was welcoming them home. Sir, Maya said quietly, we should report this to the ship. Alex nodded, but part of him was reluctant to involve Federation Command just yet. Whatever was happening here felt deeply personal, as if humanity had stumbled upon something that had been waiting specifically for them. The harmonic tone grew stronger, and more pathways began lighting up across the visible surface. In the distance, massive structures that had been dark and silent began to show signs of life, their surfaces glowing with the same blue-white radiance. It's not just our platform, Alex realized. The entire structure is awakening. The glowing pathways led them through a landscape that defied comprehension. Towering spires rose from the black star's surface like crystalline trees, their surfaces now pulsing with that strange blue-white light. As the away team followed the illuminated route, Alex noticed that the very air around them seemed to shimmer with energy. "Captain," Dr. Torres said, his voice tight with excitement, "I'm reading massive power fluctuations throughout the structure. Whatever we've triggered, it's bringing systems online that have been dormant for thousands of years." Maya kept her weapon ready, though she wasn't sure what good it would do against a construct the size of a moon. How is this even possible? No power source could remain functional for this long. "Unless it was designed to," Alex replied, studying the readings on his portable scanner. "Look at these energy patterns. They're not drawing power from any conventional source. The structure itself seems to be generating energy from ... I don't even know what." They reached the base of the nearest spire, where the pathways converged into a circular platform. As they stepped onto it, the surface beneath their feet became transparent, revealing a shaft that descended deep into the structure's interior. Without warning, the platform began to descend. "Artificial gravity," Maya observed, noting that they weren't floating despite the rapid descent, "and it's calibrated for human physiology." Dr. Torres was taking readings frantically. "The technology here is beyond anything in our databases. These systems are integrating biotechnology with quantum mechanics in ways that shouldn't be possible." The platform came to rest in a vast chamber that stretched beyond the range of their lights. As they stepped off, the space around them began to illuminate, revealing a sight that left them speechless. The chamber was filled with what could only be described as organic technology. Flowing, root-like structures covered the walls and ceiling, pulsing with the same blue-white energy they'd seen on the surface. But more striking were the human-like figures embedded within the organic matrix. "Are those," Maya started, "bodies?" Alex finished grimly. "Or what's left of them?" Dr. Torres approached one of the figures cautiously. "No, not bodies. These are more like ... templates, genetic patterns preserved in some kind of quantum storage medium." As he spoke, the organic structures around them pulsed brighter, and suddenly the air filled with whispers. Not words exactly, but fragments of thought and memory that seemed to bypass their ears and speak directly to their minds. "Welcome, children of Earth." Alex spun around, searching for the source of the voice, but found only the pulsing walls. "You have come home at last. Who are you?" Alex called out to the empty chamber. The organic structures around them shifted and flowed, coalescing into shapes that were almost human, but not quite. The whispers grew stronger, more coherent. "We are the architects, the first to walk among stars, your ... ancestors." Maya's grip tightened on her weapon. "Our ancestors? Humans evolved on Earth. We have the fossil record to prove it. Evolution, yes, but guided, shaped. You carry our patterns within you. Dormant until this moment." Dr. Torres was studying his readings with growing amazement. "Captain, the quantum signatures from these structures are showing impossible readings. It's as if they exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously." "The Black Star was our final gift to you," the voices continued. "A repository of knowledge and power, waiting for the day when humanity would be ready to claim their inheritance." "What inheritance?" Alex demanded. The chamber around them began to transform, the organic walls reshaping themselves into new configurations. Data streams flowed through the air like living light, and Alex felt something stir within his mind, knowledge that wasn't his own, memories of civilizations that had risen and fallen eons before Earth had even formed, the power to reshape reality itself, to move beyond the limitations of flesh and matter. We seeded your species with the genetic keys that would unlock this potential, but only when you were ready. Maya looked around nervously. Captain, maybe we should get back to the ship. This is way beyond our mission parameters. But Alex found himself drawn deeper into the chamber, guided by instincts he couldn't explain. How long have you been waiting? Time has no meaning here. We exist in the spaces between moments, watching, waiting for our children to come home. The organic structures were growing larger, more complex, reaching out toward the away team with tendrils of living light. Alex realized with growing certainty that they were at a crossroads. Whatever happened next would change not just their mission, but the fate of humanity itself. The organic tendrils of light touched Alex's helmet, and suddenly his mind exploded. With visions, he saw the rise and fall of countless civilizations across the galaxy, watched as species evolved and transcended their physical forms, witnessed the birth of technologies that could reshape matter at the quantum level. But threading through it all was a single, impossible truth. Humanity had been shaped by the architects from the very beginning. Captain, Maya's voice seemed to come from very far away. Your vital signs are spiking. Alex struggled to maintain his sense of self as the visions continued. He saw Earth in its primordial state, watched as the architects seeded the genetic patterns that would eventually give rise to human consciousness. They hadn't created humanity directly, but they had guided evolution itself, ensuring that humans would develop the specific neural structures needed to interface with their technology. We faced a choice, the voices whispered in his mind. Transcend to pure energy and abandon the physical universe, or remain and stagnate. We chose a third path. What path? Alex managed to ask aloud. Legacy. We encoded our knowledge into genetic patterns and scattered them across the galaxy. Dozens of species carry fragments of our potential, but only one was designed to inherit everything. Dr. Torres was frantically scanning the organic structures around them. Captain, I'm reading massive quantum fluctuations. Whatever this entity is, it's existing in at least 7 dimensions simultaneously. The chamber around them continued to shift and grow, the organic walls reaching up toward an impossible height. Alex could see other levels now, endless floors stretching both above and below, each one filled with the preserved knowledge of civilizations older than recorded history. The Keth were our first attempt, the architects explained. We gave them a fraction of our knowledge, watched as they built an empire spanning thousands of worlds. But they lacked the genetic foundation to fully transcend. They stagnated, then fell. The Keth Empire, Alex breathed. You created them too? A prototype, a test. They served their purpose, but they could never become what we intended. Humanity is our true successor. Maya had moved closer to Alex, her weapon now aimed at the nearest organic tendril. Captain, we need to leave, now. This thing is changing you. But Alex could feel the changes already taking hold. The genetic locks that the architects had built into human DNA were opening, activating dormant neural pathways that had waited millions of years for this moment. Knowledge flowed through him like a river, showing him technologies that could reshape entire star systems, sciences that could manipulate the fundamental forces of reality. The power, he whispered. I can see it all. The choice is yours, the architect said. Accept your inheritance and lead humanity to transcendence, or reject it and remain bound by the limitations of flesh. Dr. Torres was studying his readings with growing alarm. Captain, the quantum field around you is destabilizing. Your molecular structure is starting to shift. Alex looked down at his hands and saw that Maya was right. His skin was beginning to glow with the same blue-white energy that filled the chamber, but instead of fear, he felt a strange sense of coming home. What happens to the rest of humanity if I accept? He asked. They will follow. The genetic patterns we encoded will spread, awakening in each human the potential for transcendence. Your species will become what we once were, and more. And if I refuse? Then you return to your ship unchanged, and humanity continues on its current path, limited, mortal, bound to a single planet in a vast universe. Maya grabbed his arm, her voice urgent. Alex, think about what you're doing. We don't understand the consequences of this choice. But Alex could see the consequences clearly now. He saw two possible futures stretching before them. In one, humanity remained as they were, gradually expanding across the galaxy, but always limited by their biology. In the other, they became something more than human, transcending physical form, to become beings of pure thought and energy. The choice, he realized, wasn't just his to make. It belonged to all of humanity. I need time, he said finally. Time is a luxury we cannot afford. The Federation fleet approaches. Soon, others will seek to claim what is meant for you. Indeed, Alex could sense ships moving toward their position, drawn by the massive energy signatures the Black Star was now emitting. Whatever choice he made would have to be made quickly. The organic structures around them pulsed with anticipation, waiting for an answer that would determine the fate of two species, the ancient architects seeking to pass on their legacy, and humanity standing on the threshold of an unimaginable transformation. Alex closed his eyes and felt the weight of two entire species resting on his shoulders. The knowledge flowing through him from the architects was intoxicating, showing him possibilities beyond imagination. But something deep in his human core rebelled against the choice being forced upon him. You're asking me to make a decision for all of humanity, he said finally. To fundamentally alter our species without their consent. Consent is a luxury of lesser beings, the architects replied. We offer evolution itself. No, Alex said, opening his eyes. That's exactly the problem. The organic tendrils recoiled slightly, as if surprised by his response. Around the chamber, the blue-white energy flickered with uncertainty. You've been watching us for millennia, Alex continued. But you don't understand us at all. The most human thing about us isn't our genetics or our neural patterns. It's our stubborn insistence on choosing our own path, even when it's the harder one. Maya stepped closer, relief evident in her voice. Captain, the Keth failed because they were given everything, Alex realized aloud. They never had to struggle, never had to earn their achievements. Humanity's strength comes from our limitations, from the way we overcome them through cooperation and ingenuity. Dr. Torres was monitoring the quantum fluctuations around them. Captain, the structure's energy patterns are becoming unstable. I think your refusal is causing some kind of cascade failure. You would reject transcendence? The architects' voices carried a note of confusion, almost betrayal. You would choose mortality over godhood? I'm not rejecting anything, Alex said firmly. I'm choosing to let humanity decide for themselves, in their own time, in their own way. That's what makes us human. The chamber shuddered around them, and cracks began to appear in the organic walls, but Alex wasn't finished. You want to give. Use your knowledge? Fine, but give it freely, without strings attached. Let us study it, debate it. Choose which parts serve our purposes and which parts don't. Don't try to rewrite our species according to your blueprint. That is not how evolution works, the architects protested. It's how human evolution works, Alex replied. We don't just adapt to our environment. We adapt our environment to us. We take your ancient wisdom and we make it ours, but on our terms. Something remarkable began to happen. The organic structures around them started to shift again, but instead of the flowing, alien forms they'd shown before, they began to solidify into more recognizable shapes. Control panels appeared, covered with symbols that somehow seemed readable. Information displays showed star charts and technical specifications in formats that human minds could comprehend. You would ... study us? The architects asked, and for the first time their voices carried something like curiosity. We would learn from you, Alex corrected. There's a difference. Learning implies choice, understanding, the ability to say no to ideas that don't serve us. Dr. Torres was staring at his readings in amazement. Captain, the quantum signatures are stabilizing, but they're reorganizing into something completely new. It's like the structure is adapting itself to our presence. Maya lowered her weapon completely. The energy patterns are changing too. They're becoming more I don't know how to describe it. More human? Fascinating, the architects murmured. In our eons of existence, no species has ever refused our gift and offered an alternative instead. That's because you've been looking for successors, Alex said. We're not interested in replacing you. We want to become something new, something that's never existed before. The chamber continued to transform around them, becoming less alien and more familiar with each passing moment. But it retained its vast scale and advanced technology, offering the promise of knowledge without the price of losing their humanity. Perhaps, the architect said slowly, we have been thinking about evolution incorrectly. Perhaps the strongest adaptations come not from perfecting existing patterns, but from creating entirely new ones. Now you're starting to understand, Alex smiled. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our ability to become something else. It's our ability to remain ourselves while incorporating the best of everything we encounter. As if in response to his words, the black star around them began to pulse with a new kind of energy. Not the cold perfection of the architect's original design, but something warmer, more chaotic, more alive. The structure was becoming a hybrid, ancient wisdom guided by human curiosity, unlimited knowledge tempered by human wisdom. Very well, the architect said, and their voices carried a note of something that might have been amusement. We accept your proposal. The black star will remain, not as a tool of transcendence, but as a library, a place where species can come to learn and grow at their own pace. And the genetic locks in human DNA? Alex asked. Will remain dormant until humanity chooses to activate them. If ever they do. As the away team prepared to return to their shuttle, Alex felt a profound sense of satisfaction. They had faced the ultimate test of human character and passed, not by rejecting the offer of power, but by insisting on the right to choose their own relationship with it. The black star was no longer dead. But it wasn't quite alive in the way the architects had intended either. It had become something uniquely human, a repository of infinite possibility, waiting patiently for the day when humanity would be ready to explore it on their own terms. Behind them, the voices of the architects whispered one final message. Perhaps we have found our true successors after all. Not in what you might become, but in what you choose to remain.